The Game Awards is just around the corner and the nominations are in. Xbox fans are not happy at all. Now, a lot of people are not surprised with the nominations that were selected. I will admit, Xbox did have an amazing year for games. A lot of great games that were Xbox exclusives did come out, but there are other games by other companies that are not Xbox that were just better. Now, when I say better, that's just my opinion. I personally believe Baldur's Gate 3 should win Game of the Year because that game was freaking amazing. So I'm going to talk about my thoughts and opinions about the Game Awards and its nominations. Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy, whichever way you want to call it, was a pretty good game in my opinion when it came out. Although I feel like the game just kind of came and went with it. People can argue that it wasn't selected for any nominations because of J.K. Rowling's, and of course you should probably know about her and her opinions. But personally, I don't believe that was the case. At least not entirely. I personally believe that Harry Potter, the game, Hogwarts Legacy, was really just an average game. There was a lot of issues with the games, and the game could have been so much better, but there were just features that fans kind of expected that really never came. Now, of course, it's never really guaranteed that a feature is coming to a game. I'm basically talking about Quidditch, how that was supposed to be in the game. I don't know if it is right now. There was also a period of time where the game said, oh, we're not making any DLC, we're not making any new content, and they changed their mind on that. But other than that, from what I saw, the only things that were in depth with the game was the character customization and customizing your room. Combat and making spells and potions really wasn't that deep. I do believe that if the Game Awards decide to do another community, player choice award, Harry Potter will more than likely win that. But overall, Harry Potter, the game, it was okay, but it's not Game of the Year worthy. Final Fantasy XVI not being nominated for Game of the Year is kind of surprising to me, but then again, also not surprising. In a way, I kind of knew this would happen. Like Hogwarts Legacy, Final Fantasy XVI kind of just came and went. I mean, people were talking about it and playing the game and really loving it, and that kind of is exactly what happened with Final Fantasy XV, and I really love that game. Now, of course, like I keep saying, I could be wrong. There could have been a lot of people talking about this game weeks after its launch. But I do know people had issues with its combat and how it worked. Some people were also complaining that this was basically a movie, which doesn't really count as a complaint. This also really doesn't count as a complaint, but Square Enix was not really happy with its sales. They expected the game to make so much in sales, but really they expect that to happen with all of their games. They want all of their games to make $1 billion. That'll never happen. I just thought I'd mention that. Again, it doesn't really count as a real compliment. Other than that, I think Final Fantasy XVI was a good game. I just feel like it kind of just came and went. I honestly wanted to really just talk about this game because a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions about it and its placing in the Game Awards. Starfield. So yeah, Starfield did not get nominated for Game of the Year. Who would have thought? In all honesty, it's kind of expected. Starfield, or people like to call Midfield, was not really that amazing. People can cry all they want, they can say this is really game of the generation. If it's not even game of this year, it's not going to be game of the generation. A lot of people really love this game, and that's perfectly fine. If you love Starfield, that's okay. You can love the game. I think it's a really good game, and I think it's going to be even more amazing when mod support comes out and all the crazy mods that comes. It'll just make the game like Skyrim. But as it stands right now, Starfield did not perform that great. It was really buggy, just like every Bethesda game ever. Its story really wasn't that unique and different and special. Granted, you can kind of go your own way and choose your own story paths, but again, that's even with the choices you were given, the story itself just really wasn't that unique and special. The gameplay was pretty much as every other Bethesda game. It was nothing unique. The coding even in the game was exactly the same. You can enter the same commands for Skyrim if you wanted to add yourself an item for whatever reason, and the exact same coding is in this game. Starfield's graphics also just were not that good. I have a 3070 and the game was just looking like just ass. It just wasn't looking good at all. There were times where the game actually did look good, but that's because I was in space, where there's literally nothing but the void. Gunplay honestly feels very janky and slow. It doesn't feel smooth at all. The amount of times that the game had to load just to do something was just out of this world insane, just like every other Bethesda game. And really what I wanted to get to was the planets themselves. Now, I think it's really cool that you could spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours into this game and still have so much more to explore. I think that's really cool. And when they were promoting this game, they even said each planet was going to be unique and different and handmade. But in a way, that's kind of not exactly what happened. Each planet just had a template, and it was basically RNG or procedurally generated throughout the entire planet. And even then, it wasn't even an entire planet. It was a very limited square space that you could go to. Now, it was very big, but still limited. It wasn't on the level of No Man's Sky, which a lot of people brought up. Now, Starfield and No Man's Sky are not the same game at all. They have similar elements to each other, but they are not the same. Starfield has more of a story to everything, and No Man's Sky pretty much allows you to just do whatever you want. You don't really have to follow any story at all. You can just start flying and go to any other planet you want. And that game has a system where every planet is procedurally generated, and there's just billions of planets you could visit, and the number, you can't even say it. There's just a lot. There's billions and billions and billions and billions. Now, a lot of people wanted to bring up the argument that, oh yeah, you can do so much in Starfield. You could spend thousands of hours in the game. This clearly should have been Game of the Year, right? Well, wrong. Just because a game has a lot of things to do doesn't mean it's Game of the Year. Since when has Game of the Year been determined by how many things you could do in the game or how many hours you can spend in it? That was never the case. You can have a lot of things to do in a game, and that's perfectly fine, but if it's not memorable or if it's not unique and special, then who cares? Because basically every planet was kind of the same, except its style and its template. They just changed the environment, changed the animals, and let the system just procedurally generate the planets. That's basically how the system worked. Also, space really isn't even space. You're just in a floating box, and the planets, you can visit them, but they're just 2D surfaces. You can't even visit the planets. And not to mention, if you wanted to go anywhere, unlike No Man's Sky and Starfield, you have to literally keep going through loading screens just to go to a new area. If this was No Man's Sky, you could just fly right to the solar system, fly right to the space station, and land. Again, not trying to compare the games that much, but still, this is something the game could have done. Now, I don't know what the limitations were to Starfield, but I do know its engine is ancient, and it needs to die. Seriously, Bethesda, you need to stop using this engine. It's insane that you brought it into 2023. So yeah, overall, Starfield doesn't really deserve to be Game of the Year. It really did not do anything special except have something to do for hours and hours. Also, if that's the case, Star Citizen should be Game of the Year every single year. It's ongoing, and you can do millions of things in the game, so... Yeah! Another thing that people were bringing up was the fact that all of the nominations for Game of the Year were all sequels and remakes. Now here's the thing, just because a game is a sequel doesn't mean anything. Some of the greatest games ever made are basically sequels and remakes. Is it a bummer that no original games are Game of the Year? Yeah, sure, but still, that doesn't mean anything. Like, again, since when has Game of the Year nominations been exclusive to only original games and non-sequels? That's not the case at all. If it were the case, Ragnarok, God of War, and Red Dead Redemption 2 would never win any awards. Yeah! The Xbox fans online were really toxic on Twitter. They were basically crying for days and days and end. I mean, I could refresh my Twitter right now, and they're still making posts about why Starfield and Hogwarts were snubbed and all this and that. And to myself, I'm just thinking like, wow, I just cannot believe people are this upset over a video game award show that does not mean anything. Yeah, it's one of the biggest video game events of the year, but still, it's ran by Jeff Keighley. Just because he gives an award to someone doesn't mean anything. If the Xbox fans are really as happy as they say they are with Starfield, they would not be crying and complaining to people about how Starfield was snubbed. They would be happy with the game and not really care. But they do care. They all are upset. Honestly, it kind of just blows my mind that people could be above the age of 14 and still are complaining about games not being nominated for an award show. It's like we're still in the console wars. Like, can this just end? Can this just be for the kids that are below the age of 10? Because everyone knows clearly that the PSP was the greatest console ever made, and every game on that console is 10 out of 10. Yeah! That's all I really wanted to talk about. Like I said, I really think Baldur's Gate 3 should win Game of the Year. I fucking love that game. It actually got me to stop playing Destiny. So yeah, hopefully it wins, but if not, I'll still be happy. Spider-Man, Tears of the Kingdom, Alan Wake 2 were all nominated for a lot of awards. Those games are also all freaking amazing, especially Spider-Man. I'm having so much fun with it. But we will see. I will just be happy for all the games that actually do win. I really hope Bungie does not win community support. I have a video on my channel explaining what Bungie recently did, although there are a lot of updates to it, but I don't feel like I need to make another video on the topic. I really hope Sonic can win Best Family Game, but basically Nintendo is known for making family games, and they basically have that in the bag. It's like they're basically giving themselves an award. I hope Yuri, who played Spider-Man, Peter Parker in the game, wins his reward for Best Performance. Obviously, I hope Baldur's Gate also wins Best RPG because I don't want Starfield to have anything. I'm just that heartless. I really thought it would be so funny if the FNAF movie would be nominated for video game adaptation, but no. In fact, Mario is, but whatever. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. So yeah, have a good day, people. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. I am playing Shadow the Hedgehog, all 326 paths. It has been a lot of pain and suffering, so follow me there on Twitch if you want to see some suffering.
It's messed up, again, that they did not nominate an Xbox game for a GOTY. At least, you know, add two more to the list or something and nominate it. But no. Just stick to 6, all right. Let's put Resident Evil 4 in there, which I'm still trying to understand. Why is Resident Evil 4 in there? It should have been or Hogwarts Legacy or it should have been Starfield. I'm still trying to understand how do they evaluate the games they add to this Game of the Year list. I'm still trying to understand it. I'm still trying to understand how come 2 of the biggest games that came out this year was not nominated. I mean, my God, it's shameful. It's sad. That it's like a fever with this fan thing, with this I don't even know how to say it, but it's like they have like a sickness, you know. It's like there's got to be a clinical, you know, thing for this thing.
A clinical term.
A clinical term. Fanboyism or something. I don't know, because it's people just lost their minds. I don't get it.
The Starfield copium on Twitter is insane. Oh, it didn't even register with me that Starfield wasn't there. Oh, that's big. I can already see the conspiracies floating around on Twitter from everyone who's an Xbox fan thinking that they're perpetual victims, like the most oppressed people in the world. Microsoft fans get snubbed again! It's the deep state, damn it! The interdimensional pedophile vampires keeping Starfield from the success it rightfully deserves as Game of the Year. I can already see that.
Unreal. Unreal. This can't be real. This can't be my life.
Bro, no.
This absolutely cannot be my life right now.
Standing on business. Standing on business.